Well, welcome again. we thank you so much for spending this time with us. ManCave Conversations Season 4. Yes, it's been 4 years since we've been doing this. And so many of you have been talking about how this has been a blessing for you. These episodes are always on YouTube. I know a couple who they part of their premarital counseling, premarital time, they spent to go over all of the videos that's there, which is 3 seasons of that. Not because I asked them to, but they felt that it was so beneficial. So I want to thank all my guests, these amazing men. And like I said, I don't agree with what they're saying, but I've never been a man. I promise you my birth certificate says female. And so although I do not agree sometimes, I have to go along with it for the most part. All right. Tonight we have 3 amazing men. We have 2 married men and we have 1 single. So guess who's going to be on the hot seat? The single man. And this single man is he's tall, dark, handsome, rich, intelligent, a pastor, no kids. He's in the who's of who's. If you go into his house, which you might never get to, you see all these awards from Stella and Grammy and all of that, but he's single. So we're going to find out from him, what are you looking for, the Queen of Sheba? We're going to find out from him why he's single. And we have 2 really great men of God. One I met when I was a student at Bible college, and I was really, really young going there, and he really helped stabilize the craziness in me. And the other person I also met at Bible college, but I was a professor and he was a student. I will tell you later on whether he was a good student or not. All right, so let me introduce you to these amazing men. Let's start all the way from, we're going to go to Grenada, West Indies. Hi, Bishop. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And I'm so happy to be here again on the program with you.
Yeah. You bring some really great insights because you've had a time to be married. You were divorced, single for a long time, and now married again. So you bring a full perspective on relationship. Anything new you want to tell us? Before the men come in, any secrets from the man cave, or you want to save them for later?
Put me on the hot seat again, all right?
I'm telling you, this season 4 is about hot seats.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
What has been for you? And I want you. Hopefully, your wife is good with it. What has been the greatest challenge in transitioning from single to married for you?
The greatest challenge to me in marriage is always
not other marriages. You're transitioning.
I'm talking about mine.
Putting all the whole world and
No, I'm talking about mine.
Okay. All right.
It's assimilating.
Okay.
On the one hand, you're sort of comfortable in your life. You bring somebody else into it, and the give and take, the thing that you have to give up, the thing that you have to, sometimes you have to accept what you really don't really want. It's the compromise in the relationship. Sometimes that is the tough one.
We're going to talk about that because that's the becoming one that people think happens at the altar, but it really doesn't happen. It's that ing there has no time frame. But we'll take you off the hot seat for now, but you're going to be back. I promise you.
Okay,
thank you so much. Let's just see who else we have here. So remember I was telling you about this single man? Here he is, the one and only Mr. Mel Holder. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Cheryl, Dr. Cheryl, how are you doing today?
I am well. Is anything that I said about you not true?
I don't know who you were talking about.
Oh, okay. All right. So that is fine.
I want you to introduce me to that person.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Yeah, Trust me, I've known Pastor Holder for a very long time. And sometimes the social media platform redefines friendship. Talk about all these friends, we've never met them, never, fought with them, never cried with them, never laughed with them, but I know Mel. So what I said was absolutely true. He's all that. We're gonna put you on the hot seat.
Okay.
What is new? Any new music coming out?
Yes, actually, I'm working on a new project for next year, and I'm working on that. I'm really excited about it. We're filming the videos right now, so I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about my latest book, The New Normal, which is out, which was basically about the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic and the new systems that are going to be in place that has already started and how we're doing life in this new normal. So this new normal, the fact that we're doing this way is part of the new normal.
Yeah, and you had a great opportunity to do probably what was the last recording with Rance Allen, which was really great before he passed away.
Yeah, oh my goodness. That was something that I won't ever forget, working with Rance and having him do a guest appearance on one of my projects. So that was really awesome. And I thank God for just allowing our paths to just come together for that musical contribution. So
all right, you're going to be on the hot seat tonight. So I'm glad that you're wearing red. That was
I like red. It's all over my studio.
Yes, that's hotness. So we're gonna delve in and ask some questions. We'll be right back with you, Val. Welcome you and you guys for taking your time. People don't understand. People think that the people I have as guests here, they're just, little nobodies. Yeah, you guys are running the world. In fact, Bishop Hood was literally running the world, representing his country as the the ambassador? What ambassador? I was in London with him when he met the Queen of England, because his country is still under the governance of Britain, I think.
Commonwealth.
The Commonwealth. Yeah, so he's been in China as the ambassador and, met with the Queen. And so these are the people in our room tonight. These are the people in our room. Here's my first question. Before we put Mel on the hot seat. I'm telling you, the hot seat is there and it's coming. One of the things I want you guys to talk about, because although Mel has not been married yet, when I put on my prophetic mantle in a little while, I will prophesy to him. But there are a lot of men who, even after they were married, there's some men who have never been married. And these men are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, really great men. But it doesn't mean that they have not encountered women. Mm-hmm. How is it possible for a man's love for a woman to be so strong that it can pull him away from God? Purpose and God's purpose and his own purpose. Is the man's capacity for love so strong that it can derail him and take him off course? Or no?
Well, I'm going to jump in with that right away, because if you love God, you love God. And what we get confused and what I see here is the difference between lust and love. Because if you lust after something, that will give you a passion close to what you feel is love. But lust is coming from the standpoint of desiring something more than natural desire. So if you lust after something, it's not going with it the way that God would want you to do. See, when you love somebody, you're willing to give up yourself for that person. When you lust after it, is what you can get for yourself. So there's a a little difference there with what we do when we truly love someone. So when we love, we're giving. When we're love, is what we want to get back. So I want this. I want this. I'm lusting after that. But sometimes you say, men will just say, I love her. But is that really love? You want to connect with her. You want to be with her. You want to do something with her. And that's not really what love is. And we get the confusion with those two emotions, which they are similar. But love gives of itself. Love gives. Lust wants to take in.
Okay, let's hear from Bishop.
I have a slightly different take to this, because studying the book of Genesis again and the fall of man, the interesting thing is that when God created Eve and Adam said, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, this is woman. And when I look at the word, when Eve ate of the fruit and she gave it to him, Adam, and the scripture says who was with her, that means he saw all the things played out. And then he took that knowing that God said, don't do that. The take that I have on this is that, in a sense, he covered his wife. He covered Eve in not wanting her to die alone, as it were. Because God says, if you eat, you're going to die. He knows she ate it. And he still took it from her and ate, knowing that doing that, what she asking him to do, is going to cause him to lose that relationship, that close relationship with God. The question that you ask is, how can a man love so much that...
No, does he have? Does he have? Because a lot of times, the point I'm trying to get to is, we as women do not understand the man's capacity for love. We really look at it as if one relationship is over, boom. He doesn't have heartbreak. He's not hurt. He's not challenged. He's not.
You see,
Mm-hmm.
the man is made to protect. He has that within him to want to protect his woman, and he would climb over a mountain to protect his woman, the woman that he loves.
Is it possible that he would leave God?
But Adam did that. You see, like Mel was saying, love is giving and self-sacrifice. He was willing to sacrifice himself no matter the cost because of that woman. Now it can be a bad thing in that one can lose their focus because they are so entrapped by that love, so filled with that love, as Song of Solomon said, that he's willing to give everything for it. And sometimes even though he knows that God says don't, because of that woman, he may just do that. Solomon, the wisest man that lived, his women, they took his heart away from God. Right? And I say that to men all the time. You got to love her, yes, but you got to love God first.
Right.
Jesus says, if a man doesn't hate father and mother and wife, everybody, in relation to their love for me, then they're not worthy. So yes, a man can do this, but he has to remember the priority of love. The priority is God. Everything else falls after that. And don't give up that which should be a priority, which is God, for something else. Even though she's beautiful, she's everything to you, but still God is the priority.
We're looking for man's capacity to love.
Yes.
There's this song, and I thank God that I'm in 2021, and just so that people know, I'm consistent. I've always been like this, so I can't say a song that I used to listen to when I was backsliding, because I was never backsliding and I grew up in the church. Mm-hmm. But the song talks about when a man loves a woman.
She can do no wrong.
She can do no wrong.
Turn his back on his best friend.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Bishop.
I know it sounds very well.
And that is something I want us to talk a little bit about.
Yeah.
I would like, not without calling names, tell me about a time that you had a broken heart.
Oh man.
Bruce, Mel, where you going? Where you going? Tell me how you felt, what was going on in your mind. You don't have to call the name. Nobody would know exactly who you know. But I think it's very important for us as we're in the Man Cave and we're being very transparent that we really show that some of these things happen. Who wants to go first?
Well, I would say this. I look at the scripture where it says, "Hope deferred maketh the heart sick."
Sick. Yeah.
And you trust in someone, you believe in someone, you begin to have faith that this is going to be your future. You begin to plan. Men, when they're planning, they're not just putting their being; they're putting their substance, their finances, their vision, and this is what you believe is going to happen. And then to have that rug pulled from under you and it doesn't happen, it's really hurtful. And people say that men don't cry or we don't have emotions to absorb all of that, but we do. I've been through that. And, just feeling that this was something that I really wanted to happen. And maybe it wasn't God's time. Maybe some other things came into play to not make it happen. But still, the heart is something that we have to deal with on an earthly basis, with these earthly emotions of feeling this and feeling the things you feel for another individual. So when these feelings are not met or they're pulled away from you, that brings an emptiness, that brings a void. And in that void, we do feel hurt. And, then you have to then reconcile that and with different methods, whether you go to counseling, prayer helps, but it takes a lot of times. You can pray through certain things, but sometimes you have to go through certain things to get to that next level. And it's very important to have people around you. I like the other scripture. There's safety in a multitude of counsel, and have good godly people, good godly men and women to help you through these situations. So yes, you can be hurt. I've been hurt.
Have you cried over a broken relationship?
Absolutely. I mean, I did
like boo-hoo.
Yes,
in privacy. Yes.
Yes.
I know that.
I would admit this. I didn't do it publicly.
Okay, that's fine.
I did do it because, we want to give this thing of being macho, make them cry. We're all like, but we still have a heart of flesh. And if you really love someone and you're giving everything that you have and they pull that away, it's going to hurt, because that's what we want. You see, when you're really loved, you have to be open, naked, and vulnerable before that person. And that's why a lot of men don't love, because they don't want to be in that.
Wow, that's good.
They don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to be open. So we hold back and we put up these windows and these walls that no one can get into our house. And that's sometimes when we begin to abuse women. And it starts with that because we're not letting them get here. And if they're giving of their feelings, and all abuse isn't physical, but if they're giving of their emotions and we're not giving it back, we are abusing their feelings. That's because good. We're not reciprocating. So abuse can happen in a relationship without it being physical. It could be mental and emotional abuse with someone.
That's good. All right, let's see.
We have to be very careful with that. And we put this up, and I've seen that before, because after you get hurt the first time and you go around the second time, no, that ain't happened to me again. I got this. Not me. I love her like that, a little bit like that, but when it comes like that, not me. And we put up these walls. And we have to get past it. Then if it happens again, we put up more walls. So it's very important that we understand this. And when we get hurt, you got to get help. You have to understand what happened. You have to understand what you went through, understand that emotion, reconcile that feeling, get help, get healed. That's why when you get hurt, it's not a good thing to jump right back into
a relationship. That's fine.
Healing and regeneration in your spirit, in your emotions, and in your whole being.
Well, ladies, you heard that, right? So men do get hurt. Men, not only do they hurt, you see, sometimes when we've gone through a relationship and it's broken, we're crying, snot and our nose. running down our nose, we don't want to eat, all that kind of stuff. Isn't it really helpful to know that men go through that too? So tell us about your experience, Bishop, even as a man of God.
You see, one of the problems with us men, and well, I can speak for myself. Being a very private individual, I don't like people know what's going on with me. Yeah, and so hurts are internalized. And as Mel was saying, when men get hurt, they need help. But again, the nature of man being think he's macho, he doesn't need anybody, he's big enough or strong enough. Help is oftentimes rejected rather than embraced. But help is always needful. You see, people tend to think that big men don't cry, but big men do cry. When a man gets hurt, he gets hurt deeply. And I do agree that sometimes men get hurt and they don't want to love again. They don't want closeness again. They hide themselves away. But getting over that hurt is a deep, a tall hurdle, I should say, a deep gorge that men have to go through. And I don't think I think it's somewhat harder for a man to get over hurt than a woman is, because remember, as I said earlier, a man is made to protect. He's made to cover. This is how he's made. And when after he put his trust, he put his all into this, and then it backfires on him. It doesn't work out. It's as though everything is gone. I mean, and then men react badly. Some go into alcohol, some go get abusive, some do things that they're not supposed to do. And it's all because of hurt and not being helped, not getting the help. Then they do all sorts of things. And then you say, this man bad. But
does a man after he gets hurt, because Mel alluded to the possibility that the second woman that he's with, second just meaning in that chronological order, the first one he loved, gave all to, and she it broke his heart. What is how possible is it for him to give the second person just as much as he gave the first?
It's going to take time. It takes time, and it takes proper healing. Because without the proper healing, it won't happen. Because
but it doesn't mean that he wouldn't have another woman.
But you see, and this is a problem. Because a man being who he is, also a man is a hunter. All right? Now, he's hurt. He don't want to get hurt again. So rather than committing to anything, he's going to use whatever comes his way. And that is a problem. Without a man who is not healed is going to become a user or an abuser.
Right, a man who's not healed will hurt.
Except that hurt is healed, he's going to become a user or abuser, all right, or a hermit, or he wants nothing to do with anybody, any woman anymore.
Is that, Mel, the reason you're single?
No, that's not the reason. No.
Well, okay, I told everybody because
absolutely not.
But here's the thing: I'm gonna put you on the hot seat. I'll put you in the hot seat a little bit.
Okay.
Why are you single? You have great things happening for you. You have the mind of God. These amazing women all over the place. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Help me understand why.
Well, I would say this. As I got older, it became more difficult because I'm learning more things about me. And now when you start to build and you build in life, you look at things different. I look at it like, well, I have my corporation and you want to merge with another corporation. And you, for a certain part of that merger, you want to make sure that the two corporations are merging together that are healthy and they're on the same plane. And I'm not saying that you have to be with someone that has more than you or equal to you, but you have to have a mindset that this is building. And when you're younger, you get in and you start to build together. But after you have built and you get to a certain place in your life, you look to move on. You want to protect what you have. And you also want a level of building with someone. So the things of, oh, I love she looked great. Oh, I love she got good ears. And I love she got good eyes, and all of that. It moves out of the way because you look at deeper things now. Are they really compatible? Can this really work? And one of the things I say at the point of my life I'm not looking for someone I can live with. I'm looking for someone I can't live without. And that's someone that I want to be with them. They want to be with me, and it's a building type relationship. Before, I can't live. I want to have someone I can really live with. No, I want to feel that sensation that this person, I know that they're completing me in my journey in terms of what God has called me to do. And the reverse side of that is that I am supporting them and completing them in terms of what God has called them to do. And that's when it becomes a little more difficult as you get older. And as you get older, it's not just we're building, then you have the families, there was a time I would not date a woman that had children. There was a time, if you had children, that was out there. And that's totally out of the picture at my age and where I'm at now. So, I mean, I'm dating women that are grandmothers. I mean, I'm not trying to say that in a negative sense.
Be quiet, because I'm a grandmother. I don't know what you're trying to say. But
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So you have to look at it totally different. And I would say I do meet quality women. And the thing is, I have so many women in my life that are great people. I can say great women of God. And
but here's where I want to, and for this season, a lot of people will hear me talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you know that I'm at school. This is my last doctoral degree. This is doctoral degree number 3. This dissertation that I'm working on is advocating for marriage, entering and exiting marriage without feelings, taking love out of the scenario, and going back into what I would consider biblical way, where the man will send his servant to find a wife. There was nothing that was written there that they fell in love. There was a criteria. He said, whether it is Jacob or whoever, say, this is what I want. And trusted the servant or servants to go out, scout out these women, give these women tests, and then make a decision. So I'm feeling right now, I'm believing right now, that what we're looking for is that feeling. But marriage right now, people are getting divorced and loving each other. The absence of love does not mean that the relationship is over. We can replace, I tell my clients, replace love with like. And when you like somebody and you want to hang around with them and all of that, it seems to be stronger. So what I'm saying, I'm just pushing for, and I'm wondering, Mel, and I've done this with a particular, there's a pastor who, if I call the person's name, everybody would love him, love his wife. Had a few people, he said, I've been doing this for this amount of time. He was married more than twice and realized his way of finding his spouse was not good. And so he had, like a search committee. Go through this process, and then brought him, let's say 2 or 3, that he then dated his short list, and he chose one. What are your thoughts about that now? What do you want us to form a committee? I'm going to go to Bishop. I'm going to go to you. I see you.
Actually, I don't think that's a bad idea.
Okay, all right.
No, and I'll tell you why. Because if you get, and I was talking to, I was counseling with someone the other day that was in a relationship, and it just terminated, and I was trying to encourage them, and they want to get married, and then sometimes we put so much stress on the whole process. And when you're younger, you have more opportunity because the friends and the peers are all single at the time, so it's just a whole bunch of single who mingle. When you get older and right now, I would say at least most of the percentage of my friends are married. So the likelihood of meeting other single people within the same social class that I'm in is greatly diminished. So if it means that you have to do different things, yeah, if you want different results, you have to do different things instead of just doing the same thing over and over again the same way and expecting different results. So I'm open to something that may bring,
His Heart, Her Voice by Dr. Cheryl Holmes. Discover why every man desires a side chick. On sale now, so get your copy while they last.
I have to share it with somebody. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, let's hear the bishop. So good, Melanie. Will.
Now I'm listening here, and there are some things that I'm seeing. One of the things, remember the first question you asked me, how is married life? Was the most difficult thing, challenges, and I said it's assimilating, coming together. The compromises that has to be made, and I can understand Mel very well. Right, being in that position at this point in time and trying to find somebody that really can't live without, willing to give up everything for that person. And I hear where you're coming from in terms of the trying to do things different. One of the things that I said to persons sometimes, some years ago, while doing marital counseling, I said to them, you can love a person to death and still can't live with them. What you need to do is not just love, it's understanding. You have to have understanding. The both of you must have understanding. So even if things go a bit out of whack, yet the understanding is going to hold you together. Because I've seen persons who said they're fully in love, got married, they got divorced, and they're still seeing each other. Right? After divorce. And the relationship, the friendships look better now after divorce than they were while they were married. And so marriage is all about commitment. It's all about willing to make sacrifices. It's willing to live for each other. And there must be understanding. Must. Without understanding, there's no marriage. It's going to break up. Right? It's not just love, it's understanding.
Amen.
Right? And like you say, yes, you like the person. But you have to understand the person, willing to say, yes, I know you have some issues, some things about you I don't like, but I fully understand where you're coming from, right? And I'm willing to work along with you along these lines. This to me is what it's about. And Mel, I would not have liked to be in your position. No, seriously. I mean, seriously. At this point in time, it's tough. I understand because how do I now? Right? I'm trying to put myself in your position. How do I now, in the place that I'm in, bring somebody else in my life who's going to be a burden to me, and not just a burden financially, but a burden mentally, a burden somebody who doesn't complement me, who trying to do. It's a tough place to be. All right, it's a real tough place to be. And so, and then I want to flip back to what we just spoke about, when we speak about loving now. Because for Mel here now, to bring somebody into your life, there's got to be a whole heaping set of love, willingness to sacrifice, willingness to abandon everything else for that person. And like you say, it has to be somebody you can't live without. Right, so you're willing to do everything for that person. It's a challenge, serious challenge.
The challenge that I'm having with love is, and you guys can test it out. I'm a research junkie, and so if you ask 10 people, and I challenge anyone to do this, ask 10 people to define love.
Oh yeah.
The possibility of having two people saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's probably one in our.
Let me jump in here. One of the first questions I usually ask in premarital counseling: why do you want to get married? The obvious answer I get all the time is that I love her. Or she said, I love him. And I said to them, here's what I want you to do. I want you to leave now. This is a very short session. One question. I have one thing I want you to do. Go home. Define love. And when you define it, come back. I want you to tell me what that means. Now, you see, and when they come back and tell me what they mean by love, it just throws a whole different picture, because some people just don't understand what that is.
And that is why we cannot use that as a measuring mark. It is a feeling. Yeah. And when you look at the brain, the person who is in love, when you look at the brain then, and the brain that is married. So what happens there is that the oxytocin, serotonin, all that feeling is big in the middle, in the beginning. And after a while, it dies down. Now, I'm from the Caribbean, so we have, like, people who cook spinach. I was going to say callaloo, but spinach. When you put it in the pot, it's all over the pot. It's the bush is all over. You have to literally put the cover and press it down. But when that thing cooks, it goes all the way down to somewhere probably about the middle or less than the pot. Yep. Is it that it was more potent? It was better when it was bigger, or when it got to that place when it's now ready, the potency of it? Because what's happening is what was in the leaves and the stem, all of that come together and create something that is nutritional and most likely good tasting. People do not wait for that, because you hear people say, we're not in love with each other anymore. I don't feel like you love me. It's not. It has to move past that place of feeling into that place of knowing. When I'm eating that thing, I'm not thinking, oh no, how many leaves was there? Because I'm not seeing the leaves. That is the initial part of the relationship. So when we're looking, and the reason I like the biblical stance and even the premarital, somebody is looking at who you are, your characteristic, your personality, your dreams, your aspiration, and saying, this person will be a good fit. There's a show that is called Married at First Sight. And what they do, they get married, and then they work towards falling in love. And that process now, I know it's very difficult for a lot of Christians to really swallow, but we don't have that blueprint in the Bible where meet the person, date the person, fall in love, get engaged, and all of that. So Mel, we can have a committee, and the thing about that particular show, they have about 5 different people. They have a psychologist, a sociologist, and different people who are part of the panel, looking at you, asking you a host of questions to kind of figure out where you are and where you need to be in terms of relationships. So I know a lot of people don't like it. I'm saying what we're doing is not working. Can we look at something else? One quick question before we wrap up, and then we get final words from you guys. I hear men talk about they have heartbreaks and whatever. How difficult, or is it that men will talk to other men and the other man would not say, yo, grow up, what you crying about? It's just a woman. Do men have that kind of relationship? Because women, once you have a heartbreak, you call your girlfriend, you and your girlfriend cry on the phone. Would the advice that you get be the person joining you to, may not be crying, but joining you in that place? Or are they saying, yo, come on, grow up and get out?
Me personally, yes, I do have those relationships with people that I can confide in and talk about it. Yeah, definitely.
But talk about it, but is it to the place where that person empathizes and they join you in there for that moment? Because that's one of the things in the community of women, the woman will join and then pull you out. It feels like men will say, yeah, I hear you, and immediately start to get you to a place to recover from the heartbreak.
But it depends upon the nurturing relationship that you have. It depends on this level and the strength of relationship, the kind of relationship that you have with others. Because if you have your circle of friends are the macho type, you don't want to talk about that because they were there. You crying before them seems to make you look soft. Rather, they say, well, man up and find somebody else, the other fishes in the sea. Not understanding the depth that you may be going through, the depth of hurt you're going through.
Right.
But how is that so? How is that so when they themselves may have gone through? So let's say you and Mel are talking, and you, Bishop, you're saying, you know what, why this girl left me, I can't believe this, and whatever. Mel, that happened to Mel 2 months ago. So you would think that he would join you and say, yeah, I was crying about my situation too, I understand. Would that ever happen? Or Mel would just say, listen, you're going to get over that, you want to go out and have fun?
It depends on the level of maturity of your friends. Yes, you are going to have persons who are going to stand with you and says, boy, I understand, I empathize with you, I feel your pain. Come, let me stand with you. And there are others who would just say, just shrug it off and forget her. I mean, who she thinks she is, right? Look at you. Who does she think she is, right?
Okay.
And then you listen to that and you're feeling worse. Right?
Feeling worse?
Yeah, because you're deep in pain, right? You didn't want it to go. You really wanted her, right? And yet somebody's telling you, well, shake it off. I mean, you're a better person than her. And you think that she was the world. Right? You see, the pain, I don't think people understand some of the pain that men go through when they go through a broken relationship, especially somebody that they really cared for. It's painful. Seriously painful.
So how do we, you know what, we'll probably do that. Let's do that in our closing remarks, because what I want to find out from you, how do you, I would like you guys to give some advice to men as to how to handle that with another man, because if this is something that happens in the male camp and everybody at some point have gone through it, but when they come together, there is no acknowledging of necessarily the pain and the time and the fact that you want to cry. Even saying that sounds kind of wussy because of our culture and how we've been, I don't even know if wussy is a word, we've been taught. But it should be a normal response to pain. All right? Go ahead.
I would, let me just say, because one of the things that I find with this, and it's a practice and a principle that I have, as men, and when I talk to other men, it's very important that we maintain 3 types of relationships in our lives. 3 types of relationships. We need to always, I don't care how old you are or where you're at, you should have a mentor. Someone that's going to pour into you, and they have no other ulterior motive. They will pour into you as God leads them to pour into you. You have the mentor. Then you're going to have the pair relationship, your colleagues, your friends, that they're going to be there with you. They may tell you, how could she do that to you? How could you do that to her? And you have that type of relationship. So you can get counsel on that level. And then you're going to have the other relationship where you are mentoring someone else and helping them come up. And as you pour into someone else's life and your past experience or other life experiences, you begin to renew certain things that you forgot that you have been through. So it's very important that we maintain those 3 types of relationships in our lives. They will help us to get through these situations. So it's not like we have an either or type relationship. You have to have these three types of relationships, and you should be able to pull from each of them, because each of them will give you a different perspective in how to navigate through that situation.
That's good. That's really, really good, because I think the ManCave Conversation, these series that we do, is not just to empower women with information, but also one of the things that I found in writing the book and dealing with men, want to know that they're not the only one that is going through, and they don't have to be Superman in the man cave. And I think it's redefining that, because it's not necessarily only sadness is not weakness. Sadness is a normal response to what's going on. Mel, thank you so much. I know we're going to see you again, and we're going to put that we'll have to get that committee together and see if by next season we have you married. Because
it's going to be a quick work. It's going to be quick.
It's going to be a quick work. Suddenly. All right. Thank you so much. See you next time. All right. Let's get final words from Bishop.
Yes. One thing that Mel just said that really struck me, because it's the very same thing that I tell persons all the time. One should have what I call an accountability partner. Have another man in your life that can speak to you, that you would speak to, that is able to ask you all the difficult questions, a person that you'll be able to be honest with and can be honest with you, so that in difficult times, in rough times, whatever happens in your life, that person can be there to give you some balance. To me, that's very, very important. To get through a tough situation like this, without somebody who's standing there with you, who is able to talk you through certain things and able to be very honest and upright and forthright with you, it's a difficult proposition.
Yeah.
So I say, yeah. To me, it's almost an impossible situation. But having that person, that accountability partner, a person who can hold you in check, who can hold you up when you're weak and could stand with you, that's invaluable.
The challenge, however, is that I have had the opportunity to be around a lot of pastors and leaders, and the forum is not really conducive to people sharing. People usually talk about their experiences. My church has its members and whatever. So getting to a place where men feel comfortable, where and also understanding that I like the dynamics that you guys are talking about in terms of having a mentor. But one of the challenges a lot of men are having is because they're getting older, and as they're getting older, their mentor is becoming their mentee. There's a shift that's happening where the place that you used to go to for advice, because you're growing intellectually, spiritually, and otherwise, now you seem to be the one that this person is coming towards to get that. And that's really important, because that will be the time to understand there's a need for another mentor. And not because someone started off being in that position. That's where it will continue to be. It's been amazing having you here, sir. I know you're going to come back. And I still have to get to Grenada. This pandemic will ever be quiet. All right, I'll see you on the next go around. Thanks so much.
Okay, sure.
So we're talking today about relationships and really understanding that men really hurt as well. And Bishop Hood said something that was really interesting, and he said that he believes that men hurt even more. The hurt is a little deeper. It's hard to measure, so we're not going that way. But just that a man would say something like that, we can also look at that in terms of when there is infidelity. A man seems to not even have the minimal capacity to deal with his wife cheating. The level of hurt, although he may do it, the level of hurt that he would experience. I think it's about time that in the man cave, as men get together, that is not just about tools and what we're doing, but talking about where we're hurting and having and creating a place and a space where men can literally say, listen, I cried all night, I can't even eat because I'm going through this thing with this woman. and not be made to feel that he is less of a man. This is an amazing time. I thank you guys so much for joining us on ManCave Conversation Season 4. If you have not signed up for our life coaching certification, you need to do that. Stop just giving advice and give consultation. Be paid for the services that you're offering. One of our staff is going to put the link in the comments so that you can sign up for our next life coaching certification. Until next time, I'll see you. Bye.